All right, some shit went down this week on Love is Blind, and we have to talk about it. Let's get Vic and Christine out of the way for a minute here, because my first impression was that Vic is a narcissist. I didn't really love him, and I'm not sure if he's just genuinely that calm. But I'll admit I was suspicious of him. And still, when I see them together, it doesn't feel genuine to me. However, hang on, as I know that's going to upset some people, but I'm wondering, and I think it's quite likely, that because they don't have any conflict, production is telling them what to talk about when they get their camera time. So they're saying, okay, now have a conversation about what it will be like to have biracial children. So when we're watching them having these conversations, it just lacks authenticity because it's sort of been curated, right? That's what I'm thinking.
So any direct fear with me, having a white woman as the mother of your children?
No. There's no direct fear there.
I have a lot to learn from you and
vice versa.
So for me, verdict is out on them. All right, let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. I know and I get it. Chris, what? Was anybody else just so angry listening to that conversation?
In the normal world, I date people who fucking do fucking CrossFit and shit. Somebody who works out all the time and has a different type of, I don't know.
A different type of body?
You're allowed to have your preferences. Of course you are. Everybody is attracted to different things. And if you watched last week, I talked about Devontae, his lack of attraction to Brittany, who's gorgeous. So I understand, just because, we're looking at Jessica going, what are you talking about? And again, maybe other people are looking at Chris and thinking that he's good looking. Personally, I don't think he's tall enough to have that attitude, but I'm just angry. So Jessica is clearly far classier than me, because had he have said to me, I'm just used to dating people who do CrossFit or Pilates every day, I'd be like, well, I'm just used to dating men that are over 5'5". There's nothing wrong with his height, but there's also nothing wrong with her body.
You not working out every day is even a sentence that came up in this conversation is blowing my mind.
Oh my gosh, that's not even what I meant by that.
Well, it's what you said.
So I feel I'm taking offense for her, is basically what I'm saying. I found it all very offensive. So previously, I actually liked them together. Then when I saw them at her house, when they were sitting on the couch and she was saying to him, I'm thankful, I'm telling you every day, I'm thankful for you. And he said, yeah, I'm so thankful for you too. And she said, I love you. And he said it back.
I'm so grateful for what I have with you.
Yeah, I say the same thing to you. I feel every day at this point.
I know.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you.
I thought, you're in that really mushy, honeymoon phase where normally you can't keep your hands off of each other. And you just feel like you could literally just melt into each other, right? And they were saying these words, but I didn't feel really that connection between them. I noticed that he's not particularly affectionate with her. So as much as the conversation was jarring, it didn't shock me that much. After it happened and she was saying, this has come as a surprise because this man has told me that he loves me. He's planning a future with me. He wants to be with me. And flip of a switch, I do a lot of content surrounding awareness for women in choosing partners, to notice the very subtle signs, because they can be oh so subtle. and why it is so frustrating when women discuss bad relationships that they've been in and men say, well, you chose him. You should have chose better. You can see that it had nothing to do with her having a bad picker or not choosing right. This is why you slow down in relationships, because who we saw previously, that wasn't Chris. That was his representative. The man that we saw on the couch telling that beautiful woman that her body wasn't good enough for him, that was Chris. That's when we finally met the real Chris. And he didn't keep up the facade for very long. His representative got laid off early because, I mean, things do move very quickly on this show. It's not like real life, right? But a lot of the time when you meet people, men and women, you're meeting their representative, and some of them keep their representative around for a very long time. And their representatives are very convincing, very believable. The more skillfully manipulative a person is, the longer it can take to see their true colors, to pick up on red flags, to pick up on subtle signs that they are not a good person or just not the person for you, or even an abuser, a cheater, a liar. So just choose better doesn't really work. We do have to try to arm ourselves with as much information and awareness as we can so that we can try to avoid choosing these people. But when we end up in relationships with people who are abusive, manipulative, liars, cheaters, it's not just because you didn't choose well. And this is why I advocate for moving very slowly in relationships, because you can't possibly know who someone is in such a short amount of time, real life or in the pods. So that's why you see in the pods, everything is, well, not everything all the time, but typically in the ones who end up together, it's rainbows and sunshine. And then they meet and sometimes it falls apart right away because it turns out love is not blind. And then they go on the honeymoon and you will quickly see things start to unravel for a lot of couples. And then even those who make it through the honeymoon, which that is still not real life. Laying around by the pool all day is not real life. When they get home, they get their phones back, they get back to work, they start meeting friends and family, things start to unravel because you didn't know that person. The thing that I really don't like about the show is they're in the pods and I know they're spending a lot of time talking. What else can you do? And getting to know each other in that way. But again, it's just talking. And they're telling each other they love each other. They're agreeing to marry each other. The timeline of everything is crazy. And that's why even when you have really hopeful couples like Alexa and Brennan that gave us all hope, we were so hopeful, and they did get married and they were married for a while. They had a child together. They're not together anymore. Yeah, sadly, they ended their marriage when I think their daughter was about 6 months old. So it does feel like it's not particularly hopeful. There's not a lot of success. And it's easy to understand that because this is not enough time to know someone. You can be with someone sometimes for years and years and not really know who they are. But this timeline, it's just extremely unrealistic.
I believe love is blind. I mean, I fell in love with someone without seeing them and literally wanted to spend the rest of my life with them.
You do hear those sweet love stories. There's always somebody with the story whose grandparents met and got married 3 weeks later and they were happily married for 65 years. And that's beautiful. That is the exception though. It is very, very rare that something like that happens. And I honestly think that it is either just pure luck or it's two people that really were just very determined to make it work. And they stuck it out and had a beautiful marriage. Or sometimes I even wonder, how beautiful was it? And I don't want to sound negative, like that can never happen. I wouldn't be jumping into something because that has happened and worked out a handful of times. I'm more of an err on the side of caution kind of girl. Could you imagine saying the things to your fiance that Chris said to Jessica and then thinking that they were still going to stay with you? I was shocked. I'm like, oh, he thinks she should stick around and be an option for him.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How insane. I was so proud of her for recognizing that she had now met who he really was, and that was not someone that she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. And she left immediately. She was done. That was it for her.
I feel like I just need to go home.
There was no coming back from that for her, nor should there have been. And I certainly hope I don't look ahead at anything. I'm assuming that they don't get back together. That would be devastating to me if they did. But yeah, I felt so proud of her because we don't stay with potential. A lot of people stick around waiting for the person that they saw in the beginning to return. That's the representative. They're gone. The representative isn't coming back. Sometimes threats of leaving. You will see the representative return for a very short amount of time, but the true character always comes back. So just so glad that she left. I was like, oh my God, she's leaving. Like that was it. No discussion. She really didn't say much of anything. She didn't need closure. That was it for her. That was the closure. Those things that he said to her, him showing her who he really was, that was closure for her. And she walked. And I thought, pure class, more class than I probably could have had in that situation. Like, honestly, I feel like he said some absolutely horrific things to her that were completely unnecessary. He did not need to go into detail. I feel like if Chris is having a hard time fornicating with Jessica, he might just want to come out of the closet at this point. You're fucking gay. Can't listen to this anymore. Just remove him from the show. And then at the get together, when he was telling everyone that it was literally the worst sex he'd ever had in his entire life, something tells me that you are inadequate. I truly believe that there's no way. You just can't convince me. If women start coming forward and saying, oh my God, no, he's like, I was with him and he's the best I've ever had, I'd be calling bullshit on that. And also, as far as I'm concerned, that wasn't enough time to really determine whether it was going to be good. What wasn't good for him? Maybe she was asking him to do more than he was willing to do. I don't know. I'm just saying, this is my opinion. It's all my opinion that he's selfish in bed. Selfish. That's what I think. And she probably wasn't putting on a show for him, and it made him feel inadequate. And he already has little man syndrome. He 1,000%, again, it's just my opinion, he has little man syndrome. So yeah, Jessica, emotional intelligence, amazing. Awareness, amazing. And this too, so she said something else, that I have a great life and I'm looking for someone who makes it better. It's already great, and I'm looking for someone who adds to that.
But I know I'll be okay. I've always been okay. I will take care of myself. I have a wonderful life, and I don't want to be with somebody unless they're just going to make it better.
So here's why it's so important to have a full life, to have friends, to have hobbies, to know what you like, and to not lose yourself in a relationship, to not self-abandon, to not rely on someone else to fulfill your life, to complete you, to bring you happiness. Because if you end up having to leave that person, it feels like you've lost your entire world. And she didn't feel that way because she already has a great life. She was looking for someone to add to an already great life. So she didn't feel like she was losing her entire world by ending things with him. It's as simple as that. And like, oh my God, what a dirty dog. Then he goes and he's trying to get with his friend's fiance.
I was with that person too. Just thinking about it.
What person?
The number 2 person I had.
sat down and basically sugarcoated what happened between him and Jessica to Connor. And now he's trying to get with his fiance. Ew. And I have to say too, I'm sorry, what is wrong with Jessica's body? And I know the answer is nothing. The answer is nothing. I thought like she had a really cute body. She's petite. She's an attractive woman. She's a successful woman. I think that was another piece of it that goes along with his inadequacy. He felt inadequate. Oh my gosh. So when Amber said to him, "You're never going to get another hot doctor."
You think you're going to get another hot doctor? I'm just saying. Okay.
That's a girl's girl. And then whatever her frickin' name is, this one here.
Are you okay?
No, I'm fine.
I think her name is Pikmisha. That's her name. Like, ew, get her out of there. That whole thing was disgusting. Even the three of them sitting there entertaining any sort of communication with him was so freaking gross to me. But to turn to him and be like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Why wouldn't he be okay? It's not like she punched him in the face. Why are you asking him if he's okay? Oh, that grossed me out so much. Goodbye, Pikmisha. Get lost. Why is she even there? We all need an Amber in our lives. You will never get another woman like Jessica. You can go and you can maybe get somebody that does Pilates every day. I can't even really see. Maybe I'm biased. He's not my type. To me, he's not attractive at all. There's no one on the show. There's never really been anyone on the show that's like hideous. They're all somewhat attractive. I don't personally find them all attractive. We're not going to find everybody attractive, right? But you're having a hard time fornicating. Did he really say fornicating? Having a hard time fornicating because her body isn't good enough for you. Oh, okay. I could go on and on. Maybe I'm personally offended. I don't know how you could watch that and not be offended. But anyway, can we talk about Ashley's dad? I liked him and I didn't like him. He kind of bugged me a bit, but also I appreciated that he was drilling down on Alex, because I don't know if I said this last week, but I think Alex is full of shit. I do not think he is a genuine person. I do not think he is a good person. I hardly remember him from the pods, but I do remember him talking about his soccer dreams that never came to fruition or whatever. And I didn't like him. I didn't like him right from go. And then when he was talking about Brittany and when he was talking to her at the pool party, and it was so gross. And I think that Ashley's dad definitely clocked him accurately. He sensed that he was a smooth talker. And that is my thought. Like when I hear him speak, I don't believe a freaking word that comes out of his mouth. He sounds like a insurance salesman or something. Like nothing against insurance salesmen. I was trying to think of something that people stereotype, a used car salesman or something like that, right? Not that those people are, but just typical stereotype. I do really think that he is a slick Rick. That's what I think. And when Ashley's dad said he answered all the questions quite well, too well.
I drilled down on Alex a little bit. He's impressive, smart. I think he answered the questions that I asked him very well, almost too well. Honesty's written all over your body. I'm not saying he is a bad person, but I don't think honesty is his strength.
I was like, okay, he was clocking it the way that I thought that he was. He really wasn't believing. He thought, he was using a lot of colorful words. Alex, he answers things based on what he thinks you want to hear. He chooses his words very carefully. He even at times gets into a lot of word salad where it's like, hey, you just said a lot of words, but you didn't really say anything. But it can sound great. And it was funny. He tried to call him on the one thing of like looking down into the left, that he was lying. And I don't agree with that. I know we hear experts on podcasts and they mention little things here and there about like, oh, how to tell if someone's lying, if they look down and to the left. But there's more to it than that. You have to know their baseline. What is their baseline? Because people have different ways of recall. So when I do recall, I tend to look up and to the right. I'm using front camera when I'm filming this, so you're going to go, that's not, you're right. But if you check out any of my podcast episodes that I film them differently, and I do often look up and to the right when I'm recalling information. So you'd have to know the baseline. It's like I get called out a lot because I talk about a lot of topics that trigger people. They will often go red herring on me and make comments about things like, oh, they love to call it uptick. And I'm like, inflection, because when I'm talking, I have inflection at the end of a thought or a sentence or a statement or whatever. But that's also my baseline. So you have to know those things. That's important. But they saw a TikTok reel or listen to a podcast or whatever where someone said that can be the tell of a lie or a lack of confidence, but not if that is someone's regular speaking cadence, right? And also, it's more common for women to speak with inflection because we're offering an opinion. We're not shoving an opinion down someone's throat. So it's not that it's a lie. It's not that it's a lack of confidence. You're talking about topics that are very reflective. It's a common thing. It's also a common Canadian thing. Hi, I'm Canadian. We like to give people the opportunity to disagree with us. It's the same thing with the way someone may look. However, I think he already felt like he was being deceptive and then had clocked that looking down and to the left and called him out on it. And I'm not really sure what the purpose of that was, but I still thought it was funny. And he did say to him, I'm unsure yet that you're really being honest. And I think that was definitely a fair assessment. To me, a way bigger tell is that he often says, to be completely honest with you, or to be honest, or to be 100% honest with you. And I personally think that that is a way bigger tell that someone is lying and that they lie often. It's not that people don't say that. I sometimes, when I'm really emphasizing something that is maybe like a brutal honesty, I'll say like, well, to be honest. But when people come off already like inauthentic and like they're full of shit, and then they're also saying that, to me, it's an indicator of lying. If you also watch Married at First Sight, and I don't know how many seasons ago it was because I feel like there's like 5 seasons every year, but the one where the one couple, like from different couples, they were having an affair and his name was David. He used to say that all the time, and he was like massively full of shit. Total liar. Couldn't believe that. I can't remember what the girl's name was that he ended up with, but I was like, can you not see through this? Oh, I hated the way he talked. He reminded me actually of an ex of mine, so I guess it was kind of personal, but yeah, he used to say that all the time. And every time he said it, I'm like, I know what you're saying right now is a lie, because basically everything he was saying was a lie. But when it started with, to be completely honest, then I knew that he was lying. So a lot about the conversation that him and Ashley had about where they would live and work and whatever stood out to me. But one particular moment really stood out to me because I felt like it was a mask drop moment when he was talking about he had got this job offer in Florida or something, I think. And he was asking her like, so what's going on? Because I guess she's looking at a promotion or the possibility of transferring to one of the places that he wants to live. And she was like, okay, we've been back for 5 minutes. Like, I don't know yet. Can you give me some time? And he was like, yeah, we've been back for 5 minutes and I already have a job.
I'm going to talk to my boss tomorrow. It's been like, we've been back for 5 minutes and I'm still
And I've gotten a job like in that time period. Like, that's kind of my point. Like, it's one of those, like,
okay.
I reach.
It's like, okay, but when you don't have a job and you're looking for a job, like you can apply to 1,000 different places. She already works for a company that she really likes. And she can make the decision, but she has to wait on her manager, the company, to make decisions. It's not just up to her how quickly they get back to her with an answer. I thought that was very, it was very disrespectful. And what is he expecting her to do? Just drop her entire life? I wouldn't even be asking for a transfer. I'd be like, hey, let's see how the next few weeks or whatever it is go. And go from there. Because so what happens if she gets a transfer to frickin' Florida where she's like, I have no ties there. I would move there with you. I'm open to moving there, but I don't personally have any ties there. So what happens if she gets transferred to Florida and then he says no at the altar? I don't know. I did not like that conversation between them. And I think I can't say because I don't know enough to say so, but based on being a fearful avoidant, I recognize Ashley as a fearful avoidant. I've noticed a few telling traits that she has that kind of scream fearful avoidant to me. She's very hypervigilant. She picks up on minute details. And I thought I've seen her even sometimes when she hasn't voiced it. I can see the wheels turning, but she had clocked that overlap of time that he explained away. And maybe so. Maybe it was just kind of a tight timeline, which can happen when you're dating and it's not serious or whatever. But yeah, she clocked that fast. And I will often pick up on things as soon as somebody says something, I'm like, wait a minute. 3 weeks ago they said this, and even if I don't pick up on it in the moment, my subconscious is running all this data, just working through all this data all the time. And I will often hours or days later go, it'll hit me, or even wake up in the morning. I'll wake up very suddenly in the morning and be like, they lied about that. And I see her brain working in a way that I very much recognize. And how did we feel about Alex's mom? I didn't like the way that she was talking shit about all the ex-girlfriends, because I would assume she probably wasn't really getting the ex-girlfriend side of the story. She's hearing from Alex and then deciding that it was these girls that were toxic or whatever. I think maybe possibly they started to pick up on his lies. I could see him, and again, this is just my opinion. I'm just basing it off the little bits that we see, but that he could be abusive. Not necessarily physically abusive, but emotionally abusive. And I just thought, and maybe the girlfriends were terrible. I don't know that. I don't know any of them. I've not looked into anything. So I don't know. And if they've come out with any statements on anything, I have no idea. I don't look. I'm just observing what I see on the show and simply basing it on that. So I could be way off. And it is possible they could have been horrible people, terrible people. I have no idea. Again, just going off of what I see, I think when it's just every person that I've ever dated in the past was horrible, they were toxic, I start to wonder. And I would suggest anyone, man or woman, if you start dating someone and all they have to say about their exes is terrible shit, I would run. I would run far, far in the opposite direction. I wouldn't be entertaining a relationship with that person. We can recognize that all relationships obviously ended for a reason, but it's not always because the other person was horribly toxic. It can be just incompatibility. It can be a lot of things. It can be logistics. There's all kinds of reasons why. But when it's all just she was a psycho, he was toxic, you have to start to wonder, right? Like I said, I don't see any of them ending up together, and I really don't see them ending up together. I feel like we didn't see a lot of Devante and Brittany this week. They had their little chit chat on the couch there, and where she was saying, you know, I really want you to compliment me more. And I think as much as it could just be his personality that he's not particularly complimentary, she said he compliments her outfits. I don't know, like, is he fucking gay?
I don't feel as secure as I did in the pods with you. I don't like that you don't ever really tell me that I'm pretty, because I don't know if you're attracted to me. Like, you just compliment my clothes.
I don't know. That situation is weird to me. I don't think that he's attracted to her. I guess she's falling for him. Like, it sounds to me like she's falling for him. They were in the gym together. They were having a fun gym session together. That's a great bonding experience. I don't know. Did they talk about like how things are going in the bedroom with them? If they did, I missed it. Yeah, I don't feel like we saw a ton of them. Maybe it was just too boring and I've put it out of my mind. Jordan and Amber, I have a hard time even seeing them together. I don't know that's going to work out. I feel like we've seen some scenes to come and it looks like things start to fall apart there, but we'll see. I almost forgot about Emma and Mike. So they met families, and it kind of it threw me off there when Mike's mom was like coming to tears over the possibility of not having grandchildren.
Okay. But if you see that, how could you say you're not sure about having children?
Yeah, it's something that I have become more self-aware about, because my daughter will say like, oh, I'm not having kids. And, you know, I'm like, oh, you have to give me grandchildren. Then I'm like, Nikki, shut up. Don't say that. She doesn't have to give me grandchildren. If she wants to have children, fabulous. She's 15. She can certainly change her mind and there's plenty of time. But yeah, I was like, oh, that was kind of a cringe moment for me. And then when they met Emma's family and her sister kind of really going to bat there with her, which I don't think it's not the question of whether or not she has the right to decide that she doesn't want to have children. She of course does. And he has the right to decide that that's a deal breaker for him. And like I said, I was shocked that he even proposed to her, knowing that she's so up in the air about whether or not she wants to have children. And he's adamant he really, really wants to have children. So it's a deal breaker for him. I wouldn't have chosen someone that was so unsure if I was adamant that I wanted children. So it's odd to me. I'm not sure if, as she's feeling maybe more secure in the relationship and can recognize him as a strong partner, that she may be more inclined to want to have children with him. But of course, she should only do that if that's what she wants to do, right? And he's perfectly within his rights to say, if you're not 100% sure, I'm not going to marry you. And I don't think that he should if she's not sure. So it's going to be interesting. Again, do feel like the season's been a bit boring, and like this is the biggest kind of drama. And I don't know, or is the get together night over? Like I was expecting to see more people. We didn't really see anything yet between Kia and Kevin. Did Tyler show up? I will say I thought that Vic and Christine were cute when they were playing pickleball or something. And I thought that interaction seemed a lot more natural than some of the speaking scenes that we saw with them. And maybe they're just not great on camera. Like maybe they're a bit uncomfortable on camera. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and see them together when they think no one's watching. Yeah, so I guess next week we'll get to see how the weddings go and who actually even makes it to the altar. Who's going to say yes? Like, who do you think is going to say yes? Right now, I don't predict a yes from anyone. If I was to say the couple most likely to say yes. Well, I do think that unless something catastrophic happens between now and then, I think Christine and Vic will say yes. And I do really like the way that they look together. So I would love to see them just doing something on their own without cameras around. It's funny how it's like Bree and Connor were kind of almost coming across like the stronger couple this week. They really had no conflicts. She picks at him, and I think that's because I don't really think that they're a great match. Maybe he'll grow up. Maybe he's just in bachelor life, which can happen, but it's not like he's 22. So I don't know. I don't know if that's an incompatibility. I would call it an incompatibility, but maybe not a deal breaker type incompatibility. If they can kind of find some compromises there, there's hope for them. I mean, she said, I got the DM from Chris and I ignored it, which good. But why were you chit-chatting with him for so long at the get-together? Like, that really bothered me. If I was Connor, that would have bothered me. So I'm interested to see how that plays out between the two of them. And I feel like I haven't seen enough of Emma and Chris together as a couple that I can really say, like, do I think that do I feel like they're bonded? Not really. I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't felt that from them. And I don't see the next, probably most likely I would say, is like Amber and Jordan. And I don't think I see that. I don't think long-term is hopeful for Devontae and Brittany. And I don't see Alex and Ashley ending up together. I just don't. If they were to say yes at the altar, I do not see them making it to the reunion. Like, when they come to the reunion, I wouldn't think that they would still be together. I'd be shocked. So I think that's a wrap for this week, and I'm excited to see how the weddings go. So hopefully I'll see you back after that for an assessment of the weddings.